The Pitt is a city of raiders, slaves, wildmen, and abominations known as Trogs. But what are Trogs? Where do they come from? And is there a cure for this abominable mutation? A Trog is the name used by those inhabiting the Pitt when referring to humans that have been mutated by the Troglodyte degeneration contagion, or TDC. These mutated humans have slowly regressed into aggressive, light-fearing cave dwellers. According to Dr. Sandra Kundanica, the Contagion, which is endemic to the Pitt, has transformed around a fifth of the city's population into these skulking abominations. Her studies have shown that any child born within a TDC active area has a 100% rate of becoming feral, mutating into a Trog only weeks after being born. These children are much smaller than adult Trogs and are known as fledglings. Evidence suggests that the degeneration removes any trace of humanity as they ultimately tear their friends and family apart without any signs of remorse, only to then consume their flesh without a second thought. However, there does seem to be some retention of intelligence and speech, with certain Trogs uttering lines while hunting, such as meat, hungry, food, and kill, and hurts, why, and pain while fighting, yet the most inquisitive lines of speech are spoken right before death, with Trogs whispering the words "thank you" and "peace" before passing, suggesting that there could be some shred of humanity buried deep down inside, although this ultimately seems to be cast aside by the uncontrollable rage and bloodlust for human flesh. One side effect that comes with TDC is hair loss and skin slippage. The superficial layers have fallen away, revealing raw muscle tissue, which they no longer cover using clothes as they once had, instead resorting to roaming the darkened streets bare-bottomed. Their limbs have grown significantly, now gangly and elongated, their faces wear permanent snarls, they have one less finger on each hand, and one less toe on each foot, which are slowly becoming more hand-like, only accentuating their regression into a more primate-like appearance, even walking on all fours. One thing we see due to their nakedness is the lack of genitalia. Despite lacking any visible genitals, there are some people, Werner for example, that implies Trogs are capable of sexual activity, yet they do not breed, so perhaps what Werner has witnessed is an act of dominance, where the strongest Trog mounts the others to remind them of their place within the pack, kind of like dogs or gerbils. These packs hunt together, some charge head-on, while others display another sign of intelligence, and that is sneaking up on their prey or dropping down onto them from above. Although typically the group will circle their prey, surrounding them and cutting off any chances they have of escaping, which is one of their greatest strengths. Now going in the other direction, their main weakness is strangely light. They are extremely photosensitive, which the inhabitants of the Pitt are aware of, leading to strategic floodlights being placed throughout the city to deter any Trogs from entering their safe zones. Although Trogs are known to pursue targets through light, completely disregarding their own safety if they have a target, showing their want for killing outweighs their want for self-preservation. The Trogs that are killed are surprisingly butchered and turned into slop, a meat dish consisting of Trog meat cooked in irradiated water, meaning the Pitt slaves and anyone else who consumes this slop are cannibals. Now the Troglodyte degeneration contagion, or Troglytic degeneration contagion, or simply TDC, is what's known as a degenerative disease, meaning the function and structure of the affected are changed over time for the worse. It is something that affects all those living in the Pitt in one way or another, sometimes hardly at all, other times completely. Referring back to Dr. Sandra's research, TDC is the result of intensely concentrated ambient radiation, that of which is carried towards the city from several different rivers mixing with the unique industrial toxins and pollutants the city once produced, and in some small way, still produces. Fortunately, the disease is not contagious. It is a contagion, but only in the sense that it is spreading from city to person, and not from person to person, or trog to person, I should say. All people who live in the pit experience skin lesions. These are not permanent and do heal with time, provided they are away from the city and the TDC. For many people, especially those considered healthy, lesions are about as far as the TDC takes them, while a small percentage go a step further, experiencing a slight alteration to their brain chemistry, resulting in what we know as Wildmen, inhabitants of the pit who have suffered neurological damage from the city's irradiated water and toxic sky. Most Wildmen either leave the safety of the raider-controlled areas, are killed for being too aggressive, or are exiled to other parts of the city, although there are a select few who stick around for entertainment purposes, such as John and Grudbear, the masters of claw and paw, who fight in the arena. The exact number of people who become Wildmen is unknown, but approximately 20% of all adults exposed to the TDC become Trogs, with 100% of children born here doing the same. However, there is one exception to this rule, and that brings us to the cure. Now, the cure isn't some magical chem found in the belly of some pre-war military base, or some newfound plant sprouting from the irradiated soil along the riverbanks. Instead, it is a child, the very first, as far as we know, to be born in the pit and exhibit no signs of being affected by the TDC or any radiation-induced mutation for that matter. For some unknown reason, Marie, the child of Dr. Sandra Kundanica and ruler Ishmael Asher, was born with a natural immunity to the disease. So far, developments have been slow, mostly down to Marie being a baby and the sole subject, meaning she must be treated with the utmost care, lest the cure be forever lost. For now, only a booster shot has been developed, offering a mild resistance to the TDC, but that is about it. So, Trogs are mutated humans who've come into contact with the TDC, a harmful contaminant caused by industrial pollution and intense radiation. Approximately 20% of all inhabitants will one day regress into a Trog-like state, which is both savage and pitiful. They are sensitive to light, consume human flesh, and are also consumed by other humans. Those that do not become Trogs experience temporary lesions, with a small percentage suffering neurological damage. They then go on to become Wildmen. The small glimmer of hope in this savage city is a newborn child, completely immune to the disease, and is nothing short of a miracle. So far, her parents have developed a serum capable of resisting the TDC to some small degree, and that gives them hope of one day making a cure. But for those involuntary workers who know not how long a cure may take, if at all, are left living in fear, wondering if they or someone they care for will be the next to turn. Be sure to show your support by liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already for more Fallout content. If there's anything you would like to see in a later video, leave a comment and I'll see what I can do. With that said, thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.